Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Goolsby in for Lauren Ashburn. An attorney for the adult film star claiming a sexual encounter with President Donald Trump files a motion to depose the president and his lawyer. Michael Avenatti wants to ask about a $130,000 payment made to Stormy Daniels just days before the 2016 election. Donald Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, denies the affair. But reports about the alleged affair seem to have had little effect on the president's approval ratings. When asked if Stormy Daniels' matter changed their view of the president, 46% of those who responded said it does not make a difference either way. That poll was conducted by Politico and Morning Consult following a television interview with Daniels this past weekend. We're now joined by Kelsey Harkness, a contributor to The Federalist, a conservative web magazine covering the latest in politics and culture. Kelsey, welcome back. This poll shows really the support for the president's pretty consistent here, despite the reports. What do you think this says about the country's appetite for rumors or lack thereof?
Well, first off, I think that it says Americans weren't surprised by these kind of scandals popping up. Whether or not they believe them to be true, they're not surprised. This is something that, for better or for worse, probably for worse, most voters kind of predicted. But more importantly, I think this poll and another one from CNN showing that Trump's approval rating is actually at an 11-month high shows that Americans care about more serious stories. They care about outcomes. They care about their pocketbooks. They care about tax reform. They care about the massive spending bill that Republicans just passed through Congress. I think a lot of media are covering the story wall to wall, and while it might be good for TV ratings, it's not ultimately what's driving Americans to the voting booths.
In a CBS interview, former Democratic President Jimmy Carter, of course, said he believes most people want a president, though, that can speak the truth, that's going to have fidelity in their marriage. Shouldn't Americans, especially religious Americans, really care about this issue?
They should care, and I think this really puts conservatives and Republicans in a difficult position because nobody wants to condone, excuse, or ignore this story. But at the same time, we're talking about a Republican administration that is supporting a lot of policies that Americans care about and that are good for Americans. So how do you walk that line between not excusing this behavior, but also not going too far because we don't have the evidence just yet, and also still supporting the policies that they believe are going to benefit them personally? So we're in a difficult position, but I think we can and should walk that line.
Let's switch gears because I want to turn to another ongoing story that you've written about, which is the possible collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia. You've actually said the administration has had a pretty tough stance on Russia. Tell me a little bit about what you've been writing about and talking about on that.
Yeah, so if you turn on your news at night, you're likely going to hear about this Trump-Russia collusion scandal, which there really hasn't been any evidence proving that to be true. I think that's why a lot of the media are turning into these other scandals, because the first one wasn't working out for them.
It's sort of presented as if Putin and Trump are best buddies or something like that.
Exactly. And the reality is, if you look at the policies that the Trump administration is employing when it comes to Russia and Russia's aggression in Crimea, in the Ukraine, where they're actually slaughtering innocent civilians. If you look at their response to Syria, the Trump administration has been far tougher on Russia than the Obama administration before it, and even the Bush administration before that. So anyone who thinks that Trump is going easy on Russia is just really living in an alternative reality.
And obviously we've been reporting this week about kicking out all of the Russian diplomats as well. Very good. So many important issues. We appreciate you coming in. Kelsey Harkness, contributor at The Federalist. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.